people are basing their life on their experience or their, I'll give you an example. I had a couple in for counseling at home in the last week or two. And they told me they went to Beaverton Foursquare. You know, that means they're Christians. That's the right church to attend. And I'm not putting down Beaverton Foursquare, but that's just where they were coming from. And then I said to the man, well, after I listened to them for a little while, I saw a man who was so incredibly selfish and a woman so incredibly sarcastic that I couldn't believe it. It was just so obvious. It was just unbelievable. So I finally said to him, I said, you know, it doesn't seem like you do much for anyone else besides yourself. I think you're kind of selfish. Do you pray? He said, no, I haven't talked to God since my wife died. I asked God to heal her, and she wasn't healed, so I haven't talked to him since. Now, there's the problem. You see, there is the real problem. Now, they want to talk about a marital problem. Here is a problem. And it goes right back to a disconnected person from the Spirit of the Lord, from God himself. And I said, you can never pray a conditional prayer. If I ask for God to heal, I can never say, if it please you, Lord, would you please heal him? But if you are not, you are God and you are greater than the problem I have. Because they set themselves up. Their prayer isn't answered. Everybody says, oh, maybe your prayer will be answered. Have more faith, have more faith, have more faith, and crash. It goes down.
Actually, the prayer was answered. It was no.
Yes, but he didn't even understand that.
Yeah.
Now, these are intelligent people. These are not, you know, somebody with above average intelligence, very, very good income, house in Palm Springs that they go down in the winter, you know, that kind of thing. So it's just this weakness in the development of faith that's strong enough for people to make it through. Does that make sense?
And like Ron Mel, you know, many people prayed for him, and his life was extended. I think it really was through prayer, but he went to be with the Lord. That was God's answer, and we were blessed to have him as long as we were. But if he goes to that church, you know, that's a huge example that was right in front of him.
Right. So watch out for these spiritual problems. Keep your eyes open. Don't, you know, they'll say, well, my wife and I don't get along. You say, well, tell me what that looks like. I'd like to see what that looks like. Because they can say that, but it's not very specific. I mean, for all you know, she's a controlling you know what. And he's a passive you know what. So what's going on here? Why aren't you getting along? But you're looking, tell me what it looks like. Tell me how God fits into your marriage. I'd like to really know how important is he in your marriage. That's a pretty deeply pronged question, because it isn't that they can give you the answer today, but they'll never forget the question. What you are doing is you're planting a question they will ponder. We want them to ponder, not give us the answer, but ponder the question. Tell me how forgiveness works in your marriage. How does it work with your children? How often do you use it? Who's the most forgiving person in your family? Who holds a grudge in your family? Probably your client. They're in to try to get your attention, you know, that they've been whatever. So you're pondering, you're getting them to ponder. Do I ever forgive? Do I forgive permanently, or do I just forgive temporarily? Just to get something really basic, my husband's been doing the dishes for quite a few years, and I don't like the way he does them at all. Now, I have to decide whether to permanently forgive that or argue about that. Do you see what I'm saying? So I decided to permanently forgive that, and it would never be an issue. That's a permanent forgiveness. That's something that stands. It doesn't become day by day. It's permanent. It's done.
Unless you want to do them yourself.
Well, I don't want to, so it's okay. We worked it out, you know, it works out. But people do not know the difference between temporary forgiveness and permanent forgiveness.
Is there room there to talk to him so that maybe he'll improve?
Probably your husband. I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
Right.
it's a serious question.
I understand that, and I think it absolutely depends on the openness of the other person and how you approach them on other problems.
Makes sense.
Excuse me, I think
Yeah,
he wants us to use the mic so
Right.
we can talk.
right. What I'm trying to get,
Where is the mic, by the way?
right here. So ask for the mic when you're going to say something and let them bring it to you, Bruce.
I think that with clients I've talked to about this, they shut down. You know, they have those conversations and then they get mad at each other. So, you know, after a while, they just don't want to go there because they get so mad at each other and they can never come to a resolution. So whenever it comes up, they just shut down, or maybe one leaves and takes off, and then it's finished until the next time. It's brushed under the carpet, basically, until something else comes up, and then it comes up again.
Right. So what you have to do is probably do some absolute training in how to complete forgiveness. They have an incomplete conversation, and therefore they never complete. And in the incomplete, they're mad. They go off mad because it's incomplete.
That's right.
Forgiveness is a very encouraging power. It's a tremendous power. But if we just shut it up in the closet and use argument instead, or rationalization, then, you know, they're not going to make it out of anything. They're never going to be content. There's not going to be a contentment in the spiritual realm.
So when you say about temporary forgiveness, what does that look like? Let's say with washing the dishes here. How would temporary forgiveness look like?
Well, I'm not going to fight with you about it today, but you need to improve the way you're doing it. Conditional, you know, a conditional attitude.
Temporary forgiveness is conditional.
And I'm not saying that you have to do it permanently, but it would certainly save you a lot of stress.
I think unforgiveness.
You put it up. It's supposed to go off. That's
I think unforgiveness, in my personal experience, is control. It's a power struggle. Because if you give up that control and actually extend true forgiveness, what are you going to do when you're not in control anymore? Everything's scary. Chaos is going to... So I believe it's definitely tied to control. And that creates a power struggle. And I know that you see that, especially with couples. It is just a power struggle. Who's going to maintain control?
It's a power struggle, but you've got to have a little struggle when you're working things out, too. It can't just be all happy, happy, lovey-lovey. You know,
No,
to
no,
be able
I
to come
agree.
to a resolution, you've
right.
got to be able to speak, and the other person has to listen to you, you know, and take it in and try to see your point, and then somebody has to give in. Somebody has to give in a little bit, or else you're not going to come to a resolution.
And I never let
So-
them use the term give in, because that's not giving. That's oh well, that's like that hope of, I'll just give in. You can do what you want. That's not giving. That's not acceptable. To give in is 100% not acceptable.